Hey everyone, welcome back. It's time for another edition of the Pick Six. I'm your host, Wobby, inside the field house at TCO Performance Center with a sheet full of your questions. Let's answer them. Number one comes from Leonard in Faribault, Minnesota. Last season, there was a lot of talk about running the ball more. What's your opinion on run-pass balance in today's NFL? Interesting question, Leonard. Well, when you have a running back like Dalvin Cook, look at all the good things he's doing right here. You want to be able to run the ball. Coach Zimmer talks about it as putting stress on the defense. I agree with that. I like to talk about it as you want to be able to do both, run and pass, whatever the game dictates on that day. That's what true balance is, being able to do both. Question number two comes from Ian in England. Why is the offensive line a perennial need? Well, Ian, I don't think this is unique to the Minnesota Vikings. I think if you asked most teams if they could see some improvement on their offensive line, they'd say, yeah, we'd love that. And that's why I think the marketplace is not always a great spot to go and look for linemen. The best place to go and look is the draft. The Vikings did that with Pat Elflein 2 years ago in the third round, Brian O'Neill last year in the second round, and it won't be a surprise if they take an offensive lineman early in this year's draft too. Question number three comes from William in Tallahassee, Florida. Do you see us using our draft picks more this year? Since Zimmer took over, rookies don't seem to play that much. Well, I think there are some examples of rookies not playing right away, William, but I think by and large, Coach Zimmer has used some of his really good draft picks. Let's take a look at some of them. Anthony Barr and Eric Kendricks both played a lot as rookies. Stephen Weatherly played as a rookie. Shamar Stephen played as a rookie. And how about Pat Elflein, was one of the best rookies in the league his rookie season, and Ben Gedeon played a lot as a rookie. So I do think Coach Zimmer is not afraid to use his young players if they've earned the opportunity. The next question comes from Jason in New Jersey. If the Vikings add another wide receiver, would he be a slot wide receiver or an outside wide receiver who would allow Thielen to move to the slot? Well, I think with both Thielen and Diggs, the Vikings have a pair of receivers who are versatile. They can play on the outside or they can both move inside to the slot. Both of them are very good operating out of the slot. So what that does is when the Vikings are looking for wide receivers to add to the depth chart, they can look at both outside guys and slot guys. The versatility of Thielen and Diggs is great. Our next question comes from Chuck in St. Paul. Is Avion Collins a true tackle or could he move inside to guard? It's going to be interesting to watch this offseason. We know any linemen the Vikings add this offseason are going to be guys that the Vikings coaching staff likes. What's going to be interesting to watch is holdovers like Avion Collins to see what the coaching staff does with those guys. I think Collins is a guy with some position flexibility that's going to help his chances of making the roster. A final question comes from Curtis in Easton, Pennsylvania. I know we are focused on the draft coming up, but what about our rookies from last year? How will they do? Well, the top two guys are known commodities. Mike Hughes and Brian O'Neill can help the Vikings win games in 2019. But how about some of the other rookies that aren't talked about quite as much? Jalen Holmes and Tyler Conklin, two middle round guys taken last year who are going to be fun to watch develop this season. They'll have an opportunity to earn some playing time. And how about some undrafted guys? Holton Hill, he stepped up and played quite a bit in the second half of the season last year. Then you have receivers Chad Beebe and Brandon Zylstra, plus running back Mike Boone, all young guys who are undrafted but have a chance to contribute in 2019. That's it for this week's edition of the Pick Six. Thank you for watching and thank you for submitting your questions into our inbox. If you want to be included in next week's edition of the Pick Six, use the email address at the bottom of the screen and write us a question or a comment. We'll see you then.